Hot off lose your source for all things Everton. I'm just pouncing in the mid today to talk about our game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on the weekend. Everton was coming into this game off the back of 2 straight clean sheet victories. Chelsea are in a bit of a poor run at the minute, winless in 4 games. And they've kind of gone again from a really nice rich vein of form to this kind of slump. They've done that a couple of times under Maresca. It's no surprise really, they're a young team, fairly inexperienced managers still, etc. So it's probably no surprise that they've kind of streaked their way through the last 18 months under him. Obviously won a couple of trophies in that time, and I think maybe a couple of those runs coincide with them playing in a good bit of form. Got in the Champions League as well last season. Started the season a bit hit and miss. They went on a good run, and now they're back to a bit of a slump. It's fair to say. Drew 0-0 at Bournemouth last time out. Meanwhile, we obviously beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. So I think it's fair to say that Everton should be going into this game feeling confident. Chelsea then went into Atalanta in midweek in Europe and lost 2-1. Obviously, they're not one of the heavyweight sides in Italy at the minute. They've been a bit of a tumultuous kind of campaign, if you like. So that would be a smarting result for them, and I think it does kind of sort of brings together everything that you've seen over the last few weeks in that result. It's not been all kind of down to one player or the manager. They've had a lot of injuries this season, of course. Still be missing Moises Caicedo this weekend. Levi Cole's obviously still out. Wes Fofana could be out. Liam Delap as well. So you can't have too much sympathy. Obviously, they've got a very deep squad. Spent a lot of money, so they should be able to cope with that better than they maybe have done. But this is a good time for Everton to be playing Chelsea at the end of the day. Newcastle result notwithstanding, we've obviously had the last 2 wins, beat Fulham, beat Man United, drew with Sunderland as well. So the last 6 games since the most recent international break, Everton have been doing well and have been in a good bit of form, and it's been good to see, of course. Scoring more goals, not letting too many in. John Picker's right up there now with the best goalkeepers in the league in terms of clean sheets. Robert Sanchez, I believe, was on 7, which surprised me, I think, because again, he's having a bit of an up and down season himself. But it does kind of show that when Chelsea are on form, they're a good defensive unit. They've also got some really, really good attacking players. So yeah, I think the big one for me is that Everton go into this game 31 years since they've won a game in normal time at Chelsea. Obviously beat them on penalties in 2009, 2010 maybe, I think it was, 2011, that sort of era. Obviously Leighton Baines scoring to get a stretch of time, and then winning on penalties, obviously really, really good. But other than that, it's been, miserable down at Chelsea. We've got a few nice draws down the years, but otherwise we've failed to beat some really poor Chelsea teams. We've obviously had a couple of hiding off some good Chelsea sides, had a couple of hiding off some pretty average Chelsea teams as well, to be fair. So it's definitely not going to be easy on the weekend, and I think I go into this game thinking that it's a good time to play Chelsea, not a good time to play us, in terms of the fact that we've got a week to kind of prepare for this game. Just kind of gauge back, so at least going to be a bit stronger there. Timmy Rabuna will be back as another option as well. Barry's just got his first goal, and Dice played well last weekend after a couple of poor games. Someone like Jack Grealish maybe hasn't been at his best, has now had a week's kind of rest. So this feels like the strongest Everton have looked in a little while. Still no Merlin Roll, we imagine. Obviously no Jared Branthwaite as well, but otherwise pretty strong and close to full strength. So on the one hand, I think Everton can really go there and give Chelsea a kind of good seeing to, and give us a decent result, whether to win, whether to draw. Both would be good results for Everton at this moment in time. The other side of me says that Chelsea is still a really good team. Despite the fact they've got probably half a dozen first team players out, they still have, a dozen and a half really, really good players at their disposal, and it is still going to be really tricky for us. And I think this whole week I've kind of sat there and felt like I imagine Everton are going to be a mid-table side this season, and mid-table sides win the odd game, lose the odd game. That's how it goes. Obviously we all know that. So I think so long as we go there and put in a decent shift and put in a good performance, then that's kind of where we're at the moment in time. If we go to the top side and we just about can't get the result, then that's kind of understandable in my opinion. I'd obviously like to think that we can go there and be gung-ho and try and get a result, and it certainly isn't beyond us. I wouldn't want us thinking that we're defeated before we go out and play, but if it doesn't happen on the weekend, it doesn't happen. At the end of the day, Everton have got a lot more games they can win this season, playing a lot of fixtures at the minute. The squad has been really stretched, especially on last weekend. We put in a really good performance, got a good result there against Nottingham Forest, but I think we saw it after Sunderland and after Newcastle, but more so after Sunderland, people saying, look, I think we need to move the manager at the end of the season, he's holding us back, all this sort of stuff. And I just think it's a bit tiresome getting that at every result that doesn't go our way. I think Everton should have more points than they do at this point of the season, in my opinion, which is testament to how well they've played in some games. I know other games obviously haven't gone too well, and games like City and Chelsea, and not Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle, well beaten on those occasions. But I think there's been a lot of games where Everton have been in it, a bit more luck. Maybe they would have got an extra point to 3 from a series of matches. Yeah, I think going into this game confident, and I just hope it's not something like last season. We've seen that kind of performance where it's a bit of a nothing performance. We don't play too well, we're not awful, but we never look too threatening. Chelsea didn't have to get our second gear to beat us last season. And then when we did attack, we obviously failed to take a couple of decent chances, but we hadn't made our luck really in that game. So I just hope it's not something like that. I hope we go in there and give it a real good go. Try and get the 3 points, and as I say, whether we win, draw, or if we do come away with nothing, then so long as we put in a decent performance, I obviously hope we can keep some sort of momentum going. Because I say, next game's really around the corner, and obviously fans are getting really excited at the minute, which is good, which is nice, a nice change of pace. So keeping that momentum going, seeing how we can get on, going towards the new year will be really good. So let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you want to see playing in the game, and what do you think the score is going to be? Nice one.